the American people what they should be doing and setting the example. That's how we're going to lead, and that's how we're going to save lives.
I want to zoom in on a moment in the hearing today, and I believe it was your question, if I'm not mistaken, about when the individuals before you had last talked to the President of the United States. And the context here, of course, is that the last few weeks have really been troubling, and we pay attention very closely to the data. We track it every day. It's in the last 2 weeks that you started to see the data that go the wrong way, and really in the last week, it's really started to look bad, and even fatalities may be starting to tick up again. While testifying, the CDC director did not specify. Dr. Anthony Fauci said 2.5 weeks ago was the last time he spoke to the president. He said he regularly speaks to the vice president. The admiral who's in charge of the testing and vaccine undertaking said 2.5 to 3 weeks. I mean, the president's not talking to these people. What does that say to you?
Well, that's concerning, and that means the president is not taking this seriously like his public health officials are. Look, this is the task force that the president turned to get advice from on how to handle this, and he hasn't spoken to them in weeks, and in one case we don't even know. I mean, that is just showing you how this president isn't taking this seriously, how it really is endangering us, and he's not listening to the people he should be listening to. That's why I asked the question. I wanted to know how long it had been so that we could see who the president is listening to, if anybody, on the public health side. Clearly, he's not doing that.
So what's the game plan here? I mean, I honestly feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit on this. We know what this disease does. We have seen these curves happen before. There is real reason to worry about what's happening in Arizona and Texas and Florida. There's other reasons to maybe be hopeful it doesn't get as bad as it's gotten in other places. The president doesn't care. He's going to go to indoor rallies. What do we do? What does the U.S. government do? What does Congress do?
Well, what I think we need to focus on is testing, and contact tracing. We need to make sure to continue that and invest in that. Even if the president doesn't believe in it, we as leaders have to put money behind that. We need to work with our local and state governments to make sure that they're doing that, because that is what is going to help save us. That is what's going to help us open this economy, and that's what's going to keep us safe. So even if the president doesn't believe in it, as Dr. Fauci said today, we need to expand the testing. We need to do more of that contact tracing. That is what we need to do. Congress needs to continue to fund that effort.
Congresswoman Nanette Barragán of California, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Chris.
Next, pretty shocking new allegations from a DOJ whistleblower who's still at the department that top justice officials pressured prosecutors to give Roger Stone special treatment because he was buds with the president. Natasha Bertrand is here to explain it all after this.
They line up by the thousands, each one suffering with a story that breaks your heart. Like Rivette, who needed help because every step brought her pain. Their only hope is a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, the largest floating civilian hospital in the world, to bring free surgeries and care for people who have no other hope. Only 62 cents a day, $19 a month, will help provide urgently needed surgery for the world's forgotten poor. If you have ever wondered, how can I, just one person, make a difference? This is your answer. So many are still suffering, so don't wait. Call 888-550-1178 or donate now at mercyships.org. That's 888-550-1178.
It was mandated to close March 24th.
Everything had just completely canceled.
To do what I do best, build.
Dance.
I'm going to do a mural. I'm going to go dig. We're going to be printing this on color shirts.
When your dog is itching for a treat, itching for an outing, or itching for some cuddle time. But you may not know when he's itching for help, licking for help, or rubbing for help. If your dog does these frequently, they may be signs of an allergic skin condition that needs treatment. Don't wait. Talk to your veterinarian and learn more at itchingforhelp.com.
Amidst a world of brilliant turquoise, there's an exotic new place in the Bahamas where green holes meet blue holes, where every carefree pleasure is absolutely free, where time is forgotten and love is remembered. Sandals Emerald Bay, the ultimate golf and spa resort in Great Exuma, Bahamas. Close to home, even closer to heaven. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
ThredUp presents The Cure for the Common Closet.
I know that sigh. You're suffering from common closet.
Common closet.
But fear not, I have the cure. It's called ThredUp.com. It's the world's largest online thrift store with all of your favorite brands at incredible prices. Check out this J. Crew dress, $14. Boho weekend look, $25. You can pick your favorite colors, styles, brands, and voila!
Enter code NEW for up to an extra 50% off your first order at ThredUp.com. Hi, we're Warby Parker, an eyeglasses, sunglasses, and contacts brand. That's right, contacts, as in our very own comfortable, breathable, and affordable daily contact lens. Scout by Warby Parker, which also comes in an easy-to-carry, easy-to-store flat pack that uses about 80% less packaging than traditional contact packs. Warby Parker, we've got your eyes covered.
Just a few days after Attorney General William Barr's embarrassing, botched attempt to get away with removing the U.S. Attorney from the Southern District of New York and to install somebody apparently more malleable, 2 Department of Justice whistleblowers will be appearing before the House Judiciary Committee tomorrow. One of them is Aaron Zelinsky, who is one of the prosecutors who worked on the Mueller team and the case involving the president's longtime friend and ally, Roger Stone. Now, Zelinsky was one of the 4 prosecutors, you remember, who quit that case earlier this year after William Barr's DOJ intervened directly in a line of prosecution and lowered Stone's sentencing recommendations. He resigned or took his name off the briefs. Today, on the eve of that hearing, that prosecutor's opening statement was posted online, and it is really something profoundly incriminating. The short version is Attorney General William Barr's machinations are exactly what they look like. In the statement, Aaron Zelinsky describes a deeply corrupt process for coming to a sentencing recommendation for the president's buddy, Roger Stone. Quote, "What I heard repeatedly was that Roger Stone was being treated differently from any other defendant because of his relationship to the president." Zelinsky also describes how Stone was the Trump campaign source in 2016 for information on what WikiLeaks would be doing, confirming what is described in a newly released, less redacted version of the Mueller report. Here are the details. Natasha Bertrand, a national security correspondent at Politico. Natasha, what's striking here is that Zelinsky is still at the Department of Justice. He took his name off the Stone case, but he stayed at the Department of Justice. And this statement is just excoriating. Walk us through what's in it.
Yeah, Chris, it's really hard to overstate just how remarkable this is coming from someone who is still currently at DOJ. He still is at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland. And in that sense, he really is a whistleblower. And so any kind of retaliation against him while he still has his position, that, of course, is something that we have to watch for. But essentially in this memo, he laid out the sequence of events during the Stone sentencing process. He and his 4 colleagues, 4 line attorneys, they recommended that Stone be sentenced between 7 and 9 years. That was what the guidelines, according to all of his crimes, suggested in terms of how long Roger Stone should be in prison for obstruction of justice, for witness tampering, for lying to Congress. These were all in line with the guidelines. Now, that was overturned by the U.S. Attorney at the time in D.C., Timothy Shea, who was in talks with the Attorney General, who both found the guidelines and what the prosecutors had recommended to be too harsh. And of course, they considered it to be too harsh right after the president tweeted following that initial sentencing recommendation that this was a miscarriage of justice and that it was very unfair to his pal, Roger Stone. So what he describes, he lays out all of Stone's brazen lies that he told Congress, how it impeded the Russia investigation. He lays out how Roger Stone showed no regrets and no remorse for the way he had acted in terms of intimidating witnesses, intimidating the judge in the case by posting images of her in crosshairs on social media, just no remorse whatsoever, and said that all of that just makes it remarkable, really, something that he had never seen before in his career at DOJ, for the Justice Department, for the Attorney General to then intervene and say, actually, we want a downward departure from the guideline sentence. We want you to go lighter on Roger Stone. And ultimately, he says that this was the result of pressure by the president on senior Justice Department leadership.